Hey y'all, so today is the Nine of Cups, the wish fulfillment card, and we get to recognize an ancestor today, Matthew Henson, also known as Matthew the Kind, a craftsman, a ship builder, someone who was able to go to the Arctic, learn the indigenous language, the indigenous ways, and become the first person to stand on top of the world. There's actually an article, let me look at my notes real quick. The Negro at the North Pole, published in 1912. Of course, he didn't receive all of his accolades during that period and while he was alive because of the circumstances. He did go to the Arctic after emancipation of slavery. So, even though we don't learn about him in our history books, it's nice that we can take some time to give Matthew Henson his credit. Be thankful for the credit that he's been given over the years now, finally, and just take some time to recognize that we can be on top of the world just as Matthew Henson was at the North Pole, which definitely goes with the wish fulfillment card. Now let's talk about the African story in the middle, or myth. This African story comes from Central Africa, and it's called Kalemeleme and the Python's Give, also known as the Bachelors and the Python. So in this story, Kalemeleme is a lonely bachelor, along with one other man in the village. Everyone's married except for Kalemeleme and Kinku. So Kalemele's personality is that he's so nice and he's so giving that he won't stand up for himself or for others, while Kinku's personality is that he's so bad-tempered that nobody really wants to deal with him after a certain period of time. So the way I take that maybe in modern times is that while women can walk all over Kalemele, women might not necessarily be willing to deal with Kinku. And also, I see tarot as a language of energy. It's not something that we should take basically to heart when it comes to gender roles and things like that. But this is just us tapping into energy, and energy can have any gender role. So hopefully we can move past and think of these stories on a higher vibration. So as Kalemele is going into the forest one day, he kills a brown cat and a white cat and comes across Moma. Moma is the python that we see right here. So he comes across Moma, and Moma is saying how cold he is and how asking Kalemele if he could please take him to the river. And Kimele, being such a gentle spirit, takes Moma to the river and basically dumps him, throws him into the river. And as Moma comes up from the reeds, he says, "Thank you, Kalemele, is now put your hand in the water." So Kalemele puts his hand in the water, and the water starts turning redder and redder and bubbling, and all of a sudden there's an open mouth. He puts his hand into the open mouth and receives a gourd. He goes home with the gourd and is able to, as it cracks open, the most beautiful woman he's ever seen pops out of this gourd. And this woman is so gentle. She cultivates the garden, she cooks the meals, and it's not just that she's taking care of things around the household, but she does it with so much care, and she's so gentle about it that Kalemele and his wife, his new wife, become the favorites in the village. And as this is all going on, Kinku is looking from the side. And Kinku approaches Kalemele asking, "How did you get your wife?" So Kalemele tells him what happens with the snake Moma and him hunting and him receiving the gourd and his wife. So Kinku says that he wants a wife, he's lonely, so he goes to do the same thing. Now on this particular day, the sun is boiling hot, and he's going out. He also kills a brown cat and a white cat. And soon as he's going back home, approaches Moma. Moma says, Kinku, it's so hot. Please take me to the river. And Kinku says, no way. Nobody likes loathsome snakes, loathsome reptiles, pythons. Take yourself to the river. I am not picking you up. So Mama says, very well. And he goes to the river, dumps himself in the river, and the river again starts bubbling and turning redder and redder. And then an open mouth appears. And Mama looks at Kinku. Go ahead and put your hand in the river. And he puts his hand in the open mouth and receives a pumpkin. And as he's going home, the pumpkin gets heavier and heavier and heavier until he can't even hold it anymore. And as the pumpkin goes to the ground and breaks open, the ugliest woman ever seen pops out of the pumpkin and boxes him straight on the ear before he can even get out of shock, and declares to Kinku that I am your wife. So Kinku is now stuck. Wish card fulfillment in reverse, right? Kinku is now stuck with the ugliest woman ever seen, and she bullies him and she punches him and tells him to make the meals. Kinku cultivate the garden. Kinku fold the laundry. Kinku weave the baskets, and basically bullies her husband. And Kinku takes blame on the water spirit, but little does he know that he only has himself to blame. And so this is just a beautiful story about how when we manifest, especially with water energy, because we're dealing with the Nine of Cups, when we manifest, it's not just fire energy, the light, us seeing the idea, but when we receive the frequency, also having the vibration, right? And be able to, when you vibrate with it, then the law of attraction is going to come in. And I don't even like saying law of attraction, but just so that we're all on the same page, law of attraction would come in, right? And you would be able to vibrate on that frequency, and then you're able to receive what it is that you're vibrating on. But if you have a bad attitude, like Kinku, yes, you might still receive what it is that you're looking for, but the reflection is going to be yourself, right? So, as always with the wish card, be careful what you wish for. Again, if I'm saying any of these names wrong, please definitely educate us below and tell us how to say these names. But for now, you guys, that is Matthew the Kind, one of our ancestors, and Kalemeleme and the Python.